Hello beer tubers and welcome to yet another brewery showcase with me, Peter, the master of hobbits, today joined by
Brett
of Annomyces. So we're checking out a tiny nano brewery today from Denmark, a brewery that's gotten a lot of traction online on social media. A lot of people are loving their beers. So we're checking out Hops and Haze Brewing, previously known as Hops and Haze Home Brewing. So Kim, who runs this small nano brewery, reached out to me and wanted me to try some of his beers. So he was kind enough to send these, so thanks a ton to Kim for the beers. I really wanted to try them as well because a lot of people talked about him. And I reviewed his collab with Ale Farm Brewing that I thought was nice, but not as hyped as everyone kind of hyped it up to be. It was a good beer, but it was just a little too much of that earthy hop kind of character for me at least. And then I felt like, I've never been a fan of Kvike and IPA. I think it works very well in like farmhousey beers, but often I feel that's where it suits it best. So there was a couple things I just didn't like too much, but Kim was nice enough to reach out and send these. So they're all brewed. I think I'm not entirely sure if it's at his place or it's at Brew Parts, which is a homebrew shop which he works at. So, but that's where you can mainly buy the beers. But they've also gotten around. You saw it a few places, right?
I saw some of it at Væskebalancen in Aarhus, but otherwise I haven't seen it. I don't think so.
So it's tiny batches. I don't know the exact amounts in terms of cans, but it's not something that gets everywhere.
Nope.
So we're gonna start off with this one, which is Outnumbered. We got 3 different beers to try, and this is a raw ale. So something very new to me. I haven't tried. Maybe I've tried it in some farmhouse ale variants. I'm not entirely sure, but it's basically beer where you don't boil it.
Yeah.
And so you don't boil after mashing. That's the whole idea behind it. And, it's not something I've ever done myself either. But, when you do this, you have to be making beers like this as well because you don't kill off bacteria and whatnot. But to be sure, Kim does it by just having a stand with the wort at like 85 degrees to he pasteurizes it basically when he does this. So that you don't get all kinds of stuff and it's safe to consume. So this is 5.6%. This sour IPA. It's hopped with Citra and Nelson Sauvin, and is made with barley malt, oat flakes, malted oats, lactose, and then Kvike yeast and lactobacillus, which I guess is for souring the beer in the kettle. And that's pretty much all the info.
Yeah.
Because he also sent me info on it here, but it's the same that's on the can. So let's dive into this one. Looks very nice.
Yeah.
Looks New Englandy with the haze.
It also looks farmhousey. For
some
reason
it does.
there's like a black chunk in mine.
Okay, maybe that was in the glass already. Maybe it's a fly. I don't know. Extra protein, Brett.
Yeah.
But it looks nice. White head. I could smell the Nelson when we popped this. This was canned on the 4th or the 29th of the 4th, so 29th of April. But being a sour IPA, these beers usually last a whole lot better than IPAs. But let's check it out. Ooh, yeah. It reminds me of kind of like a Begone style, a style that was very popular a while back, or at least people tried to do it. You remember the Invasion IPA from Mikkeller in the Big Bombers?
But
those beers, I think that one has bread as well.
Yeah.
But
this more reminds me, or it reminds me of the Grim, those sour wild ales, hoppy wild ales, or
also kind of like Prairie. They did some for a while, like I can't remember the names on them to be honest.
Yeah.
A couple of them.
I know. Yeah, they did these like hoppy farmhouse.
Yeah. It was like one hop and it was like sour.
And that was before you started to call them sour IPAs. They just called them like hoppy wild ales or dry hop wild ales. I'm
getting lots of Nelson, lots of gooseberry.
Yeah.
Gooseberry being the predominant aroma on it for me, and then there's a little bit of a passion fruity vibe underneath.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's that lactic sourness. It's nothing crazy. It's like it just smells like really tart grapes.
Yeah. Yeah, but also again that passion fruit because it has the tartness.
And it smells crazy refreshing.
Yeah. It smells very nice.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's pretty refreshing. Very grapey.
Yeah.
It's up front, at first I was like, oh, this is quite sour, but it dies down quite quickly. I wonder, so I guess the lactobacillus is like a kettle souring thing, and then he pasteurized it at the 80, was it 85 he told me, or was it 80? He held it at 80 degrees. before cooling. Okay, there we go. So basically pasteurizing it. I'm guessing that's to kill off the lactobacillus because he also had the lactose in there, because otherwise the lactose would work, or the lactobacillus would eat up the lactose and make it more sour.
Yeah.
Because it's pleasantly sour. It's nothing crazy.
Well, it's pleasantly sour. It doesn't have a lot of complexity.
No, it's very, but a lot of these beers didn't have that.
No.
It was very, like, one note, lactic sour IPA.
Yeah.
And this one being very Nelson forward.
Yeah.
There is a bit of, like, a bright citra thing, but I think the big thing is just, like, it's a gooseberry bomb and a white grape bomb.
Yeah.
I do sense a little bit of a, maybe not pellety hop vibe, but there is a little bit of plant matter, but it's very light.
Yeah.
And nothing, I'm too bothered by at all. Like, I've had worse kind of plant matter flavors in IPAs.
And much bigger productions than this. But
it's really good. Really enjoyable, total crusher.
Yeah.
It's good start.
Yeah.
Good start, and it doesn't taste like a homebrew. Like a lot of people,
not at all.
A lot of people when they, drink beers like this and from nano breweries or sometimes just check out homebrews on YouTube. A lot of people talk about beers having homebrew tastes.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's all flavors. But
yeah.
this doesn't have any. This
is like a grainy thing, or
Yeah. So let's move on to the next one here. So this is a 3-bean stout. Interesting choice of name because there's already a couple of beers with this name.
Yeah.
It's just spelled differently. That might be the catch. So this is a milk stout, but it's interesting because this milk stout is also fermented with kvike. I know a lot of homebrewers are really into kvike. Like so many of them use it, and then we have ghosts. I'm just gonna close that completely. I'm sure part of it is because it turns out you can turn over beers really quickly because it ferments so fast. But I think it just suits some styles better than others, and I've never had it in a stout. So I'm guessing it ferments down really low, but then you have the lactose to bring some sweetness. So a milk stout with the vanilla tonka beans and coffee.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And of
so
course
like
lactose.
just like 3-bean stout.
Yes, 8%. Is that also vanilla?
That
cocoa beans?
No, it's I think that's maybe cocoa beans, coffee, and then tonka beans.
Yeah.
It's probably instead of vanilla they use tonka beans.
Kim is from Sønderborg, and he says so. That's the south of Denmark, and he said it's with coffee from a local roastery, which is awesome. Support local businesses, and it looks nice. It looks like a nice milk stout. Like I guess it's early Imperial territory, or I guess some places you call this Imperial because it's 8%.
Yeah.
But it looks nice.
Yeah.
Black color, beige mocha colored head.
Yeah, quite fluffy.
Oh, let's check out the aroma. Ooh, this smells very nice. Yeah. I love that the tonka isn't overdone. Because tonka can be so intense and overpowering.
Yeah.
The big thing is like a coffee milk stout.
Yeah. It's like
really
coffee with milk, and it's like a very fresh, pleasant coffee aroma.
Yeah, it's not necessarily.
And nutty, like this nutty, chocolatey, chocolatey coffee.
And then there's definitely a little bit of that green coffee bean, but I think you often just get that when you use a lot of coffee.
Yeah, but I like a pistachio kind of note.
Yeah, I guess that's like it's a nutty.
It's
not
green pepper.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah,
nice vanilla tones without being like crazy. It's definitely the coffee that shines, which I really like. And to be honest, I don't know how much I'm picking up on the tonka. Maybe there's a whiff of like a cinnamon-esque thing on the aftertaste, but maybe it's just because I know it's in there.
Tonka is like to me like a mixture of almost cinnamon and vanilla.
Yeah. That could be. It's been a long time since I had tonka. I always just associated with like a weird cinnamony, almost artificial cinnamon thing.
Okay.
But it smells really good.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Interesting. Because up front, I got like a tartness, and I don't know if that's the kvike yeast that does that. It's interesting because the kvike yeast is definitely producing a lot of different fruitiness, almost making me think of like English stout.
Yeah, I'm not getting any tartness, to be honest.
I just had but that can also be coffee.
Yeah.
Like a tart coffee thing. But there's a big fruitiness, like almost like wine gummy or something like that to me.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But I think it's very much like this, like milk chocolate coffee thing. Still a bit
really
of that
easy drinkable
pistachio note. It's smooth and creamy, very nicely drinking.
Yeah, there is a very interesting fruitiness. I think that's from the Kvike.
Yeah,
I'm not too well versed in Kvike just because many times I've had it, I've not been the biggest fan unless I've had it in farmhouse ale. And also a lot of commercial brewers don't really use it, at least not too often. But it does produce an interesting fruitiness, almost like citric too, to me. But that could also be the coffee profile.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm getting a lot of like a wine gum kind of thing. I don't think it's
not a lot.
fruity. No.
It's not like as much as an English one, but it almost seems like you've done a modern milk stout, but with a little bit of an English classic flair.
I'm getting kind of like a date thing to it.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a jammy dark fruity thing, which is nice, and then it's lots of coffee. Again, I don't know if I really taste the tonka bean, but I'm happy that it's very subdued, so it's not like crazy.
I think maybe it's just that it has like a subtle spice.
Yeah. There is a subtle spice, especially on the aftertaste now, which seems cinnamon-esque, but maybe also that kind of fruitiness could also be the tonka. Yeah. Because it's in a lower amount.
Yeah.
And then also like a nice touch of vanilla, like super eargoing beer, very drinkable, really good.
Yeah, and well balanced.
Yeah, so far off to a roaring start, I'd say. You know, for a new brewer, this is very nice. So let's check out the final one here. So this is a triple IPA. This style can be really good, but it can also be really hard to wrangle. A lot of brewers, they make some really good ones, but also some make some, we've had examples, definitely Britt and I, that we haven't been huge fans of. But whenever lately, when we reviewed triple IPAs, we raved about them, but because we've had some very high quality stuff.
Breweries.
So this is a 10% triple IPA hopped with Mosaic, Galaxy, Sabro, and Kashmir hops. And it's made with barley malt, oats, flaked oats, and malted oats. And then no wheat, interesting. It's very different from brewer to brewer what they use with the New England IPAs. And he uses London Ale 3, which is one of my favorite ale yeasts for New England IPAs because it produces such an awesome stone fruit character. It was tapped on the 4th of June, so we're around the 4-week mark, which I think is perfect for triple IPAs because then it shouldn't be scraping. That's one of the big things with triple IPAs often. And in terms of hopping, it's got 22 grams of hops per liter, which is a ton. And in the kettle, it's mainly Mosaic, and then it's been double dry hop with Mosaic, Galaxy, Sabro, and Kashmir, where Sabro is the dominant hop.
Okay.
So, cool. It looks like what you'd expect from this kind of beer. Very hazy. Yeah. And not a lot of head, but it's also 10%. This is pretty much what London Ale 3 can do. 10% and then it's done. Yeah. It's not very versatile in making very strong beers. But it looks nice. Slightly orange. Yeah. So the aroma. Ooh. Yeah, it's very nice. Very dank. Yeah. And bright. It's kind of like how I want my triple IPAs, but there's definitely some underlying sweetness.
I'm actually a bit surprised by the amount of sweetness. I think it smells very sweet.
Well, I think that is partly because of London Ale 3. Again, it can manage 10% and then it attenuates at a max at 75%. So if you make these kind of beers, you're going to have a lot of residual sugar often.
To me, it smells like overripe apricot and peaches.
I definitely agree with that. But up front first, I'm getting brightness, and I think it's Sabro. I'm getting that really
but
cool,
also milky, creamy coconut.
Yeah, but also really cool herby lemongrass. Yeah. Almost like there's also like an interesting honeydew melon. I think that's of course Galaxy, but it has a very nice hop profile.
Yeah, I see it has this
but
kind of
really
overripe, actually herby thing. But I think the dominant thing is that overripe.
So we talked for fun off camera, if we should compare this in terms of size to any brewer, locally Why Not Brewing is probably the best comparison, and I will say it reminds me a lot of Why Not Brewing, to be honest. Maybe with a little bit more yeast character, at least the last couple more yeast. But it's also a triple IPA, so higher alcohol means the yeast is going to produce even more esters and whatnot. But it smells pretty good. Yeah, let's try it. Cheers.
Cheers.
This must have been a little bit biting when fresh, because it still has a hint of a bite.
Yeah, it's a strange beer because it's quite sweet, but it also has that bite.
Yeah, but I think it needs that bite because it's sweet. But I don't think it's. I've had way sweeter.
But it's it's.
I don't think it's too sweet at all.
No, but the bite or like the the dryness of the bite that it has is quite different from, for example, some of the bigger breweries. I think It doesn't dry out in the same way. It's more, as you say, it's more like a bite than it finishes dry.
Yeah. It feels like this had that what people call hop burn a little while back. And maybe, if we look at the bottom of the can, there's definitely yellow gunk. We don't swirl that in, and I know a lot of people do that. I'm not going to try and take a sip of that.
No.
And we forgot to mention the name of this. It's called New Wave, but I think that's often part of it. 22 grams per liter is also quite a lot of hops, but really nice flavor. I saw, I think it was Hopskull said that this one to him had too much hop bite, and it was like pellety and like hop burny. I'm not getting that at all, but it has a bite, but it's faded because we're drinking it a little more than 4 weeks old.
Yeah.
And I think that's just maybe what it needed.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very much like this overripe melon, still like apricot overripe.
And really cool herbal thing. Like, I think there's that like lemongrassy, almost dill, like coconutty Sabro flavor, which I really like.
Yeah, and to me it has like just like a touch of like a slightly dirty kind of earthiness, but it's...
I don't think it's that much. I think for me it's more of a... Of like Sabro's like brightness, and I think maybe what you call dirty earthiness is most like the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think I just think
even though he didn't use
the
Galaxy,
finish has this kind of I would definitely
Mosaic
say
can also go into like a slightly earthy, resiny vibe, especially when you use it outside. But
because it has to me a bit of that slightly dirty, earthy, resiny thing right in the finish that takes me back to some of the really old school like West Coast IPAs. Actually,
a little bit.
Same of that,
I don't think it's really West Coast like at all.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that
it reminds you of that
earthy, like the flavor of that is kind of the same, but it's not. It doesn't finish like a West Coast IPA at all.
No. I think it has like a bit of a peppery bite, but this is pretty much in this vein that I want my New England IPAs, because it has some sweetness, but it has like something to balance it out, so it's not all like just juice, overripe juice.
Yeah.
But I can see like if you don't like if you had this really fresh, it could have had more of a bite, that's for sure. But this can doesn't really bite.
It just reminds me of why I don't drink triple IPAs, to be honest. It's a nice triple IPA, but it just really needs to be more bright all the way through to really be something I truly enjoy, at least these days. It's mostly a bit too sweet for me. Like that. But that's the type of sweetness it has. I don't enjoy.
That's just malt sweetness, but that's what they have, and especially when you use a yeast that attenuates like this, like you're gonna have a lot of sweetness when you make the triple IPAs. Of course, and that's just how it is. But that being said,
a lot of people will enjoy this a lot.
Yeah,
and it's not
I would much rather drink a double IPA version of this, or
me too.
Maybe I don't know about a single. I feel like Galaxy works better in doubles, but usually I also don't enjoy triple IPAs that much. Besides a few that make me just go totally insane. But I don't think we should compare it too much with those, because they have a whole different level of balance and everything. This has a bit more rawness and edge to it, that's for sure. But I don't think it's as bad as I've had in many others, and I definitely think it's less than the single. It was also a single IPA, but actually, surprisingly, it's a single IPA, but this is less rawness and everything than the single IPA that he did with the Ale Farm.
But I kind of wish it was an 8% double IPA instead.
Yeah.
That's because the flavor profile is pretty cool. I just think, it just has that notch too much sweetness for me, and that doesn't really need to be there. And, but that's a preference thing.
I think maybe I'll agree with you, like just drinking it a bit more, especially when you jump from the sour IPA, because it's dry and sour. It definitely has a pronounced sweetness, but I definitely had worse.
So it could be. It's not bad at all. I think I'll actually tie these two at straight 90s. Yeah, I think this is nice, but triple IPA just isn't my thing. It isn't. So,
no, I much prefer singles and doubles. Like, man, I'm not gonna bring another brewery into it now, but brewers, please make new school West Coast in Europe, because that is something you can drink a lot of, and it's so drinkable. Usually, loads of fruity hops like you do in New England IPAs. But
I think this is so well balanced, and that's why I would tie it with the triple IPA. It's not, the flavors aren't like wow, but it's just so well balanced, and it's, to me, it's more well balanced than this one.
That's true. So maybe like a 91 then for the stout, and then 90 for that, and then I will say max 93. I could see your point about the popping hop character. It could be, but maybe it was fresh. I don't know.
Right,
but I definitely don't want to go much higher than that because I think they're good, but they don't jump into where you're like, wow, I'm really excited about the beers, but they're just really enjoyable, drinkable beers, which is awesome, and especially when you just start a brewery.
Exactly, it's it's a great start. It's very promising.
And the big thing with this as well, it's not too sour. It tastes like,
and it's dry.
It almost has like a bit of an elderflower cordial thing to it because there's some floralness to it, and then maybe the tartness because I'm thinking of lemons that's in that as well. But off to a good start. That was fun. So, Hops and Haze, Kim, thanks for the beers. Again, we are 100% honest, guys, so this is our true, honest opinion about the beers. We're not just being nice because Kim said them. They are pretty good beers. So, it will be really fun to see what happens with his stuff in the future. Yeah. So, if you guys had a chance to try either of these or any of these, let us know what you thought of them. If you want to try some Hops and Haze home brewing, if you're in Denmark, you can go into the home brewing shop called Brew Parts. That's where you can buy it, and according to Brett, also now in a few other places. So keep your eyes peeled. And if you had any of these, as I said, let us know. As always, remember to comment, subscribe, check the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And we're going to say cheers in our favorite. Yeah. I'll see you guys in another beer review.